Hi, Mina. It's Sickciditi here, repping the Elvis Duran in the Morning Show shirt, my local radio station back home. I had called in and I won a free shirt, and this is my shirt that I won. So, if I sound kind of funny, and I'm actually sounding a lot better than I've been sounding, I've been sick for the past 30-something hours, since not yesterday, but the night of the day before, going into yesterday. I've been like really, really sick, and I feel a lot better right now, actually, which means I probably can go to work tomorrow. But if you would have saw me yesterday, I felt like I was dying. So going to bed that night, I had some pain in my throat, and I started to feel kind of out of it. I'm like, oh no, I'm getting sick. Let me just go to bed. And I thought maybe I could sleep off the pain in my throat, and I'll wake up, have a cold. Overnight, I got a fever, and I woke up every like 10, 20, 30 minutes, and I just started feeling worse and worse. And I know I had a fever, although I didn't have a thermometer, so I don't know how high it was. But I was really, really cold. Like my teeth were, my top and bottom row of teeth were hurting. And I read online that it has to do with your sinuses, that the roots of your teeth are connected to your sinuses. I had a really bad runny nose. I couldn't breathe through both my nostrils, and I need my nose to breathe while I'm sleeping, like, because I breathe through my nose. Oh, it was just awful. And I didn't fall asleep till maybe 6 in the morning when I got my fever down, because I called my mom. What do you do when you feel sick in a foreign country? You call your mother. And, you know, I had a wet rag on top of my head to get the fever down. It was just awful. And all day yesterday, like, my body was sore all over, and I was just exhausted. And in the morning, I had to go to the hospital. In Japan, you can go to a clinic, but most people go to the hospital, which is pretty normal because they have a whole bunch of stuff there. And that was an experience. One of the harder things I've had to do living in a foreign country. That's tough, right? Because you have the language barrier, you have the difference in healthcare systems. Japan has socialized healthcare. Everybody has the national health insurance plan, which I also have. And as a result, the experience is very different. So I called ahead, and that was difficult, right? Because I had like no voice because of my throat. And I'm talking to this woman on the phone, and she can't hear me, even though I had gotten transferred finally to someone who speaks English, which I had to do in Japanese, and they couldn't hear me in Japanese because of my throat. When I finally get to someone who speaks English, she can't even hear me because of my throat. We work things out. I tell them my birthday, what's wrong with me. They tell me to come in. I bike ride about 10, 20 minutes away from here, not that far. But I just made it, right? Because it closed at 11, and I called them at 10. And I got off the phone at 10:30. So I finally get there, and one of the things is that you have to sign up first, because it's my first time there. I get a cute little card that has my name and stuff on it, and in Japanese. And then I have to go upstairs, and I have to sit, and I have to wait. And they're like, okay, we'll call you. And then some lady comes over, and she escorts me, saying that I'm going to go to a different area. And I wonder if it's because the doctor over there spoke better English, or if that was the right section. But you don't know what's going on because you can't read anything except for the English signs. But like, there's like there was 47 doors that I saw. In Japan, the hospital is branched off into different sections, and you know, like endocrinologist door, gastrointestinal door, what's the dermatology, right? Like every single, labeled from 1 to 47, were all these different branches of medicine that people go for, and they were all in one place, and that's something I'm not used to. So you have to you get escorted to your right door. I was at like the throat section, and they were like, no, you're gonna go to the ear section, and I guess they all study somewhat the same thing. so I guess it didn't matter. I'm thinking it's because he spoke better English, but I'm there and I wait an hour sitting in the waiting room outside to get to see this doctor. I finally get to this doctor, and I sit down in the chair, and he goes, "Oh, can you speak some Japanese?" I'm like, "Oh, yes, I can." "Oh, are you a student?" "No, I'm a, English teacher." Right? We're having a little mini conversation in Japanese. Then he checks my nose briefly, like 2 seconds. Nose, opens mouth. Then he goes, "I think you have a cold." Then he goes, "Wait, let me check one more thing." And then he puts a flashlight down my nose. Wacha! Oh, that was horrible. 2 seconds later, he's like, "No, fine. You just have a cold." Medicine. Not even like 2 minutes was I there before I got ushered out. He didn't check anything else, which I'm not used to, right? Because in the U.S., they like check your blood pressure, check your temperature, check everything else. Then they send you on your way. No, this guy looked at me for 2 seconds after waiting for him for an hour. And then I was sent back to the other place. They had to do something else, and they had to call up the lady who speaks English, and the lady who speaks English brought me downstairs. I had to pay for it. And so, because it was the first time, it was like $30 for the visit. I don't know what it costs on other times. And then I had to go wait on the pharmacy line for the medicine, this cold medicine, for another I don't know how long. And all in all, I see the doctor for 2 minutes. I'm there from 10:30 to 1:30, and I spent $50. So, kind of like, and I was feeling miserable, so I kind of left feeling like, Although when I did get home and I checked what the medicine was in English, it turns out it pretty much was for all of the symptoms I had. It was for fever, it was for sore throat, it was for everything. So I got a miracle powder that tastes like chlorine when you put it in water. But then if you put it in hot water, you can't really taste it. So I try to drink it with tea, which I hope is effective. I'm not even sure. But there you go. That's my first experience going to the hospital by myself. And one of the harder things you'll have to do. But I did it, right? And the fact that I got through it, the fact that I was able to communicate enough to get the right help and assistance I needed, I feel very successful. It's amazing how much harder, like, mundane things are when you're in a foreign country and in a foreign language. So, that's it. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Hopefully about something much more enjoyable that I did, rather than sit at home for 2 days, blowing my nose, and lying in a pool of my own sweat and coldness. Bye, mata ne. Bye-bye.